All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Get the Memo. We got a good show for you today. Um, my name is Jason. I'm your host. Hmm. Um, Now let me connect my Mac back to my AirPods because my phone decided that it was gonna pull some crap while I'm live. Let me get this reconnected really quickly, everybody, and then we can be back. Hold on a quick second. We are live. There we go. Um, we're just gonna wait a little bit um, for people to kind of join. And here, hold on a second. Turn off Bluetooth. I hate when my phone does that. So let's go ahead. All right, we are back. So let's wait until one is watching, so whoever is on, thank you so much. Um, I really, I really truly appreciate that. It means the whole world to me. So thank you for doing that. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. I usually don't do that. But on live streams, I usually do it because we're live and you know we just got to do it sometimes. So let me also grab our PayPal link because obviously throughout the show I have to promote it. Oh, actually, it's not a PayPal link. It's our Substack. I'm crazy here. Hold on a second. Let me. Oh, hold on a second. My AirPods disconnected again. While I do this, and by the way, I'm sorry for the background noise. Uh, People just don't understand or care that I am live, so please excuse that. And let me. All right, voiceover doesn't want to talk, so let me fix our technical issues. I don't like that we have technical issues already, but we will get this fixed. We have done this 1,000 times. So we don't have a PayPal. And the reason is for the political channel, um, it is because um, we're going to be talking Ukraine. And uh, uh, co- um, apparently, um, they have decided to so they have decided to censor people um that are talking about the truth about Ukraine. So this is our latest article, it looks like, and I should know, but again, I don't um usually look at my own articles. I try not to because I think that's weird. So let me just paste this for you. We will get going right now. And let's see if I oops. And let me just make sure it posted so we can get started. Yes. And I should say press that post notification. So let me fix that. Press that post no. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, if you could please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, press the post notification bell so you never miss another one of these videos. I do that all the time on my sports channel, but hey, this works too, I guess. Um, But yeah, if you could do that and also support us on PayPal, it is the way that we can make a little bit of money here, and it would mean the whole world to me. If you like what you see, please enjoy, and also talk to your family and friends. We work a lot to make sure that you guys have a good show to watch and to listen to, and also to hear the truth. Um, a good show that tells you the truth about what's going on in the United States, around the world. So for tonight, I thought we would go over some videos, as many as we can. Um, you know, it's uh we're going to talk mainly about Ukraine. In fact, that's all we're going to talk about tonight. Ukraine asked for a fast track membership into NATO. So essentially, what that means is you have to apply to be a part of the National Atlantic Trade Organization. Um, Now, why was NATO created? NATO was created in the Cold War to go after none other than the Soviet Union. Now, uh, because they saw the Soviet Union as a threat for communism and all of that. And by the way, the Soviet Union that eventually became Russia because it fell in 1990. They uh you know they became our foe, our enemy, essentially, of the United States after the Cold War. I'm sorry, after World War II. And China sided with Russia and all of that, and so the Soviet Union. So the United States decided with the Truman Doctrine to help um fund the rebuilding of Europe. Now, do I disagree with that? No. Now, there's a pretty good reason why, and it's because the U.S. empire did not want Japan and Germany and UK and anyone else to join the Soviet Union empire. So lately, so there's a lot that's been going on. And so the first thing we're going to go over is Vladimir Putin annexed Ukraine, a part of Ukraine called, actually, it annexed Crimea. I'm sorry. It annexed Crimea. So let me pause this. And so it annexed a part of Crimea, or it annexed Crimea. Um, Because, well, it said, hey, well, you guys are going to invade Ukraine. You guys are going to do all this crap. Then I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. Now, of course, as we went over in our previous live stream with our good friend Naim Abul Hawa, who, by the way, I texted Naim. And if you ever watch this, Naim, you're disappointing me, man. I wanted you to come and join me. Anyway, um, so the reason that there was a problem in Ukraine in 2014 is because of Obama and Biden, yes, Sleepy Joe, doing a coup in Ukraine. Um, and they wanted to put in their own puppet because the democratically elected government was not enough for the United States. So when they complain about meddling in elections, well, we meddled in an entire country. We threw out an entire government. We did regime change in Ukraine. So um, let me close this tab here. Let me close. There's a couple tabs I was testing. So um, they had so they did a coup, and then of course the Donetsk and Luhansk, the two regions in eastern Ukraine that are, or I don't remember, but they are for Russia. They speak Russian. They're native Russians. They sided with Russia most of the time. The Ukrainian government started shelling the people of Ukraine, these people that were called Russian separatists, is what they were called. Now, before, now they're all Ukraine, kumbaya, Ukraine. because it's against Vladimir Putin. Well, there was an agreement called the Minsk Agreement. No one ever talks about that. And what this agreement is it talks about how it was a diplomatic agreement between the United States, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, and everyone else saying, hey, we don't, we will not shell and bomb and throw bullets shoot bullets at the people. We won't murder them anymore. You let the rebels hold elections and there will be peace. Vladimir Putin waited for 8 years to get that done. So, since he could not get that done, he decided, there was no peace because the Ukrainian government, along with the United States, were using weapons to kill Ukrainians. Vladimir Putin decided, yes, he was going to invade, and he did. And there's been a lot of things happening. The UK's energy bills have gone up. Italy, Poland, Holland, everywhere else. And we're going to talk about the US blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. So all of these things are set to get me demonetized. So please join our Substack. We couldn't do PayPal because of the fact that they're censoring. But anyway, the first video I want to show you, now we're going to be doing this from Jackson Hinkle, Jimmy Dore, and others. The reason why is because they show a lot of graphics on the screen, and I just kind of want to react to what they're saying. So let me take these off for now. So for now, the first video is going to be on China and Brazil voted with Russia. Actually, they abstained from voting on the UN Security Councils, the United Nations. They have a Security Council that condemned the annexation of parts of Ukraine by Russia. So we're gonna listen to Jackson Hinkle. We're gonna see what he has to say here, and we're gonna stop and start and stop it and pause, and I'm gonna talk. So here we go.
Just in, Russia vetoed, and China, India, Brazil abstained from voting on the UN Security Council resolution condemning Russian annexation. That's big. Just this morning, we saw that Russia formally recognized and signed off on the joining of Zaporozhye, Kherson, the DPR, and the LPR to the Russian Federation. There's a few last procedural hoops that they have to jump through, like Russian parliament, constitutional approval. But by and large, it's pretty much happened. Putin has signed off. Putin gave his speech about this. And they are celebrating in the streets of each of these respective regions, as well as all across Russia, particularly in Moscow and the Red Square. This is huge. It means that Russia just gained 108,900 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory, or Independent People's Republic territory. And the question now is, how is the West going to respond to it? Obviously, they are condemning it. They are saying that this isn't, Russian territory. This is not Russian soil. The Ukrainians have responded to it as such. They said that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski.
Now, before I let that go on, I just have to say, when they said, oh, it's not their territory, how could Russia do this? Well, what's funny is we're occupying a third of Syria, or 2/3 of Syria right now. We went into Libya and we did a regime change war. We did all of that. We went into Iraq, by the way, and we effectively just did a regime change. We threw out Saddam Hussein. They hung him. They said that he had weapons of mass destruction. They only did it because Halliburton wanted more money, and Dick Cheney got $30 million from Halliburton after being its CEO and then becoming the vice president of the United States, because he tricked George W. Bush. Ha, that's a good idea. Make you VP, vice president. So we went into Iraq. We invaded Nicaragua because the president of Nicaragua in 1989 would not be a puppet of the United States and didn't want to deal with the CIA anymore. So the CIA got the Marines to invade. We did a coup in Haiti in the 70s. We invaded Iran in 1953 because we didn't like its democratically elected government. We also invaded we invaded Guatemala because there was a part of land that like 6 corporations owned, and they never ever used it. Isn't that funny? They never used that land. Well, the people of Guatemala decided, hey, let's use it for our own people. It sounds simple, right? So, let's stop everyone from being poor. Let's help people. and let's actually let them have a part of land. Well, the United States corporations did not like that. So what happened? The United States went and invaded. Um, Libya. I mean, we invaded Libya. We overthrew a dictator named Muammar Gaddafi because they said that he had child sex slaves. They said that he had a slave market and that terrorists were all over the place. That it was rampant with a bunch of terrorists. I mean, you go to the market and there's a terrorist standing there buying groceries. I mean, and shooting up the place. That's what they were saying. And they just did it to do regime change war. Under Hillary Clinton, by the way, and Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, and Antony Blinken, and Jake Sullivan, and all these, Victoria Nuland, all these people decided that. All these people decided that. So, you know, and then, of course, the coup in Ukraine. So it's okay for the United States to do that. It's okay for the United States to invade Libya. And by the way, they're starting the dirty war in Syria in 2008, and then Obama continuing it from 2009 to, now. It's okay that we do that. It's okay that we're trying to overthrow Assad, who, by the way, Bashar al-Assad, who was helping us kill ISIS and get them out of there, out of Aleppo and all those other places in Syria. It's okay for the United States to do all these war crimes, but then try and condemn Russia for doing the same thing. It is condemnable. It is against international law, but if there's anyone that knows about international law breaking, it's the United States.
Is responding to it, of course, by trying to join NATO. That failed. He said that we are a de facto NATO ally, and he signed off on this, expedited fast track membership application for NATO. He said we trust each other, we help each other, we protect each other. But they don't apparently trust, respect, and value him because they denied his application.
Yeah, so we're going to go over that too. And you know what? Can I lower the volume of this? Can I go lower the volume? Let me see. Let's go to 80%. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh. Let's go here. So, that's true. He did try and fast track his way into NATO. By the way, publicly, we said this on our last stream too. Can I find that? Can I find that stream? I don't know that I can find it right now, but maybe when we take our next break. Maybe. But I should have had that link prepared. But we said this, that publicly they're saying, yeah, NATO, yeah, they can join NATO. But Zelensky admitted that NATO basically told him behind closed doors, yeah, you're not joining because we don't want you. And our good friend Ayman Abulhawa explained why. And it's because, well, I will explain it. But essentially, they did try and do that. He tried to act like the boss. And anyway.
That is unfortunate for Ukraine and very embarrassing for them. Now, they also have said that, essentially, we are not going to negotiate with Russia, assuming that they move forward with this annexation and assuming that they have Vladimir Putin still in charge. They said, we will negotiate with Russia when we get back all our land, when we get back Crimea, and when Putin is no longer in power, meaning that they don't want a negotiated end to this war. They want a military end to this war.
Now, the not only do they want it, the United States wants it. And of course, it's for energy and it's for resources. I mean, it's so repetitive. It becomes a pattern and it becomes annoying. So they remember that Zelensky was offered a peace deal with Vladimir Putin and the United States. And Zelensky said no. Germany, Olaf Scholz, who is also, the conservative dude that's on the United States side instead of being on the right side of history, right side of this issue, right? He offered this peace deal between all those nations, the United States, Germany, Russia, and Ukraine. And Zelensky said no. And then when there was a peace deal to come by the way, when there was a peace deal that was about to happen, one of Boris Johnson's last-ditch efforts to keep the war going, one of his last actions was to fly to Ukraine. And everyone was like, whoa, what the hell is he doing in Ukraine? It was to stop the peace talks. It was to continue the war. So this war is continuing because there's a lot of parties here in the European Union and the United States that want this war to continue.
Well, the United Nations just met moments ago while we were watching that speech that Putin gave this morning, and we have some interesting news. Obviously, Russia took it upon their own power to veto the decision to essentially condemn them and block them, whatever, for annexing these regions that just voted legally, sovereignly to join the Russian Federation. But what's interesting is who stood with Russia. Take a look. Just in, Russia vetoed, and China, India, Brazil abstained from voting on the UN Security Council resolution condemning Russian annexation. That's big.
So India, China, and Brazil. Here, let me rewind that because I want people to hear this. So here we go.
Resolution condemning Russian annexation. Just in. But what's interesting, vetoed and who stood with Russia condemning, abstained from voting. Then Russia vetoed, and China, India, Brazil abstained from voting on the UN Security Council resolution condemning Russian annexation. That's big.
Yeah, that's very, very, very big. That's pretty. I mean, you can't get any bigger than that. The fact that they are deciding to abstain from voting, I would have rather them vote against the action here. But the fact that China, India, and Brazil, by the way, who are all a part of the BRICS alliance, they're that currency, that new trade organization that Russia was starting with Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now other nations are trying to join it, by the way, because everyone's just leaving the dollar. I don't know if you noticed, but the US dollar dropped to the number 2 currency, not the number 1. And Saudi Arabia is actually joining with China to buy fuel and fossil fuel and energy in the yuan instead of the dollar. The petrodollar. Why would they go against a big brother like that? Anyway, so it is very big that these 3 nations, China, India, and Brazil, would abstain from voting and side with Russia, essentially, instead of the West. And in the speech that Vladimir Putin gave, he said, you guys need to stop being the biatch of the West. You guys need to stop being little biatches. I'm not going to curse here, but if I can try and manage it. But that's essentially what he said. And it's true. Why are they being little bees to the United States? They got to stand up to the West. And that's what he is effectively saying. It was a bit vitriolic. It was a bit kind of he was not very happy, and you could sense it. But yeah, essentially this is very big.
Now, China is to be expected. China, of course, is to be expected. But yeah, India and Brazil, that's huge.
United States.
That's huge.
Yeah, let me point that out. China is a competitor of the United States. It's a foe of the United States. It's got a better economy than the United States. It's a communist party. United States is a direct democracy. Now, we're not a democracy, by the way. Anyone who says that our corporations own us, they own our government. So it's an oligarchy. It's a kleptocracy. It's all of those things. So it is very big that Brazil and India went, yeah, we're going to join the United States. That's huge. China, you can kind of see it, right? They've always kind of been like that.
Why is that huge, Jackson? Well, it's huge, first of all, because Brazil's about to have some elections. They're in the midst of their first round of elections right now. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy because obviously, Bolsonaro is not like a good leader. He imprisoned his former opponent and now current opponent, Lula. But what we know is there's a lot of U.S. officials and intel offices that, and the CIA in particular, they've admitted are gunning for Lula.
Now, before I let that go on, and that's very concerning. So Brazil did have an election. It's headed to the runoffs. I think Lula only got like 48.2%, and Bolsonaro got like 43%, and it's upsetting all the lefties. So the big thing here is this. Jair Bolsonaro is not a good leader of Brazil. He let the rainforests go up in flames over there because of the fact that he wanted corporations to just reign over. He doesn't believe in environmentalism. He doesn't believe in climate change. He doesn't believe in any of that. He's also just a terrible leader who lied about Lula. Who, by the way, those charges that were dropped against him of corruption and all that, they were dropped because the courts found that, hey, those charges were false, so we have to let him go. But the people still kind of agree. They still have that in their heads about Bolson, about I wish, about Lula da Silva. Now, so this is huge because Bolsonaro votes against the United States. Wow, this is pretty crazy. Now, the CIA, the NSA, the DEA, the NIH, the all these 16, 17 intelligence community offices, departments, all want Lula da Silva. I tend to think that if the CIA wants you, I'm a little afraid. I'm a little afraid of you becoming leader.
Now, that's a drastic change from years ago, but the times have changed. The world is shifting, and Bolsonaro is more pro-China than Lula is. Lula also adheres to the globalist and vision of sociocultural liberal values and woke agenda. In some capacities, of course, Lula poses not what they pose. He poses a threat in some capacities. At the end of the day, they want Lula in power. Bolsonaro is more pro-China. He's pro-fossil fuels, deforestation for industry, these sorts of things. And now he's taken a stand to come out and say, we stand with Russia. We're going to abstain. This is a very important vote.
Yeah, the fact that Lula da Silva stands with the globalist agenda and the imperialist left and the imperialist West. He stands for empires. He stands for imperial invasions and regime change wars. And he stands by Ukraine instead of Russia. That's something that ought to be concerning to everybody because, as you know, Europe's having an energy crisis, and we're going to go over that. And Brazil doesn't want to have to go through that as much as Europe, and they're probably going to if Lula da Silva wins. Now, I don't agree with the deforestation with the Bolsonaro, but he is standing pro-Russia here. So there's a difference in the two candidates.
Surrounding the annexation of the DPR, LPR, Donetsk, and Zaporizhia and Kherson to the Russian Federation, he's come out taking a very strong stand and saying we're going to abstain from this vote, okay? Which is interesting because it seems as though if anyone, Brazil has been kind of, less tied in with all this stuff. I mean, they're on a fucking different continent, but they've been less tied in with the BRICS alliances of late, with everything that's going on over there. And they've kind of taken the back seat in all this geopolitical affair.
No, that's actually true. Hold on.
Now
they've that's actually true. They have taken a back seat. They've kind of said, let Europe and the United States go at it. Let them do what they got to do. They're on a different continent, by the way, as he said. And so they're kind of been offhand, like, whatever. We're not going to be intervening. It's not our jobs. We kind of don't feel like it. So that's actually true. So I was just making sure this worked. So the fact that they're now coming out here and Bolsonaro is taking this giant stand supporting the Russian annexation of the DPR, Kherson, the Donetsk, Luhansk, all those parts of Ukraine, 9,000 square kilometers of Ukraine. That's kind of crazy for Bolsonaro. But let's keep going, especially now that they're coming out and speaking out now.
They've taken a very strong stance, and they're saying that we are going to stand with Russia, as is India. India, of course, has been standing with Russia throughout the entirety of this. They claim, we take our own path. We're not taking sides here. And by abstaining, they are effectively taking Russia's side in this matter.
That's true.
So Russia vetoes UN resolution condemning referendums. 10 remaining Security Council members voted in favor of the resolution, while China, India, Brazil, and Gabon abstained from votes. Russia on Friday declared a UN Security Council resolution condemning Moscow-backed illegal referendums to annex Ukraine's occupied territories. Said if the resolution condemns these illegal referenda, the resolution condemns these illegal referenda. It calls on all states to not recognize any altered state of Ukraine, and it requires that Russia withdraws troops from Ukraine immediately. Linda Thomas Greenfield, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, told the Security Council.
Why don't we have the U.S. withdraw troops from Iraq and the Sudan and Pakistan and get our ground forces out of Ukraine and get our ground forces out of Yemen and get our weapons out of Yemen, who, by the way, were assisting Israel and Saudi Arabia commit genocide in Palestine and Yemen. Why don't we get our troops out of the goddamn Middle East? Let them deal with what they have to. You know, my dad said, Jay, women can't do this and women are being this and this, and I agree that their stances on women and gender equality and all that are not what I would stand for. However, it is the Middle East, it is their country. If you really care, if the United States really cared, they would have dealt with it diplomatically. But that's not why they're there, ladies and gentlemen. They're there for resources. They're there for like the oil, the lithium, the nylon, the gold, the whatever they have, the United States wants.
Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier on Friday announced that the annexation of the 4 Ukrainian regions, Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye, and Kherson, in violation of international law, according to the Western officials. The referendums have been widely condemned by the international community, with the European nations and the U.S. saying that they will not be recognized. But China, Russia, India, Brazil, and Gabon have different ideas and different priorities, and they're standing with Russia, standing with Moscow, standing with Putin, in an incredible display of courage.
That is a lot of courage for Gabo, China, India, Brazil, and all those other nations that are standing with Russia. Because, I mean, in all truths, yeah, is it against international law? Sure, but I don't think the United States, who, by the way, pulled out of the criminal in the International Criminal Court, I don't think they ought to talk. I really don't think so. I think the United States, I don't stay out of it, because the United States has been known to how do I put it, break the law. It if I can spell that correctly. Let me ask if Oscar's watching. Our friend of the show, Oscar. He's friends of 2 shows, so he finally has friends. Are you watching? Okay. If you are. Remember the name. Okay. Interesting about China, India, and Brazil. Interesting how they are taking this very courageous stance here. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of people. Let me close this bar here. Um, you don't see a lot of people standing up to the West. If anything, what you see is you see them cowering to the West, and you see them doing whatever they want instead of the right thing. And they know it. Now, the United States is also known to perform criminal activities all over the world, as we have gone over in the stream with the invasions of so many different countries. I'm not even through all the nations we have invaded. Nothing like that. I haven't even finished. However, they are trying to. So the United States has. So how do I put this? The the United States, in its authoritarianism, imperialism, um, has blown up the Nord Stream pipeline. Now, let me explain something while I get this shared. So, the United States is trying to pin this explosion of um the explosion of the Nord Stream pipeline on the Russian Federation, on the Russian government, on the Kremlin, which is very interesting. If I'm gonna be honest with you, now they say that Vladimir Putin would benefit from blowing up his own pipeline. Now, I want you to, when I tell you why that doesn't make sense, I want you to kind of sit back like this and like pick up a beverage, take a sip, and then just put on your thinking caps. If you have one near, put on a thinking cap and realize what I'm about to tell you versus what the United States is trying to tell you in the mainstream media. Does it make sense? So Vladimir Putin supplies 40% of Europe's energy, whether it's natural gas and liquefied gas, oil, whatever it is. They provide 40% of all the European Union's gas and energy and fuel and all of that. Now, I would prefer that we get away from that, but regardless, the world is what it is today. So, I prefer green energy. However, so Vladimir Putin supplies all that energy to Europe, and they use the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2 pipelines to do exactly that. So, you might be asking, okay, so why does that matter? All of Europe, all 40% of Europe is buying from the United States, from the Russian Federation, including Germany. So, why would Vladimir Putin, the guy who makes money off of the pipeline, blow up his own pipeline? It was created to supply energy to the German people and the rest of Europe that would buy. So to me, it really doesn't make sense. And I hope to you too. I really do. Because it, of course, it doesn't make sense. And a lot of people, they're going to say, wow, okay. So, Putin wouldn't really benefit from blowing up his own pipeline, right? So, why would the United States benefit? Well, the United States would benefit because now Russia can't sell energy to Europe. Now Russia can't sell all that natural gas, all that fuel, all those energy prices, all of that, none of the products, all those energy goods and services, products, all the greatness to Europe. Now Germany and the UK and Ireland, all these people are going to have to buy from the United States now, from ExxonMobil and all of our oil companies, BP, which is actually British, but whatever. They're going to have to buy from us, the United States, and from the government at 5 times the price than what Putin was charging them. That's what they're doing. This is going to hurt Europe. It's going to hurt Europe because, as we're going to go over as well, the energy crisis has gotten worse because now everyone's energy bills are going up. So that's quite a funny thing. Now, I wish I had that video of the Italians burning their energy bills, but either way, before I go on, Oscar is our MVP of the night. Anyone in the chat, please put everyone but Oscar. Don't do this, Oscar. Don't put yourself as MVP. Put Oscar MVP. Here, let me. Hold on. Oh, hold on a second. Let me go back to StreamYard here, and let me go down here and let me. So in our stream, like I said, the last one we did with Naima Bolhawa, we went over why Ukraine couldn't join NATO, why this war is going on. It's officially really energy. We went over how the Zelensky said no to a peace deal between the United States, Germany, Russia, and Ukraine. We know all of that. So watch our previous stream on Ukraine, Amazon, and more. Okay, so and I'm sorry for the noise. My sister obviously doesn't care that I'm live. So that is our stream, and now let me put hashtag. So Oscar. So we'll do real talk. Oh, with Oscar until and we'll do hashtag Oscar is the MVP Oscar. Now, Oscar, if you want to send me a link to your channel, let me text him this too in case maybe he's. Thanks, dude. Whoops. That means a lot to me. Also, if share your channel on the chat, we have that link too. Anyway, let me see if I have a video. Do I have it? Here, hold on. It's over here. Let me see. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so Oscar does a commentary on sports. All right. Sorry, I'm at home. It's gonna be quiet. Lost to the best NFL team, the Dallas Cowboys. So this is Oscar's channel. So he does commentary on Real Madrid and the Washington Commanders. Make sure you give him a like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Only press the post notification bell for Real Madrid. No, but seriously, subscribe to this channel. Press that post notification bell if you're interested in any of that. So let's go ahead and post that. Let me make sure this is actually going in the chat here. Okay, so he sent me another link. So maybe there's another video he wants me to share. Okay, so he just wants me to share his normal channel. So I'll also share his normal channel. Maybe you can't watch the video right now, but here is channel with all videos. And we'll just paste that. Go ahead and check Oscar out and give him a thumbs up in the chat. Put hashtag Oscar. What was the chat? I don't even know. Yeah, so hashtag MVP Oscar. Put that. That's the only time I'm going to say that, Oscar. Only time. All right? Okay. So back to what I was saying. I'm sorry for that little interruption. So as you can tell, it wouldn't really make sense for Vladimir Putin to say, I go to blow pipeline. Nope, I'm going to explode pipeline. Because I don't need, I don't need. So as you can tell, it benefits the United States because now they got 40% of Europe buying our gas. Now, by the way, they will not the prices that they're gonna charge are not gonna benefit us. Okay, the regular average people, we're not gonna get those benefits. Joe Biden, the Democrats, all those corrupt a-holes, you know who I'm talking about. The Republicans, the Greens, everyone are gonna benefit except you. If you are rich, if you are powerful, if you are in the bowels of government power, you are at the tops of the power, like AOC, Cory Bush, Ro Khanna, all these individuals, you will not benefit if you're not there. So let's go ahead and watch this other video on the Nordstrom pipeline. And you guys let me know what you guys think. Because, yeah. All right, here we go.
Nord Stream explosions are a tremendous opportunity. Washington can now step in as Europe's top supplier of liquefied natural gas.
Ultimately, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous.
Now, this is Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Anthony Blinken was in charge, was a part of Biden's staff when they first invaded Ukraine. I just want you to know that they were the ones. He was the one that was there. Now he's Secretary of State, and he's going to tell you how this is a very good opportunity. This is a very good opportunity for the United States. Washington seeks to make money, and let's figure out why. I wonder why it's an opportunity. I probably just told you, but
This opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy, and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs.
Advancing his imperial. We got to take away his power. We got to take away his ability to make money for the Russian people. We got to hurt Europe and raise their energy bills. We got to raise their energy bills because all we want to do, Anthony Blinken, all I want to do is charge more for energy and make Europe suffer the coldest winter ever because now they don't have the money to pay their energy bills. I mean, how can they when they were locked down like all of us? Makes no sense. And this whole, we got to stop his imperial designs. What about us? Why don't we get out of Ukraine? Why don't we get out of Syria and Libya and the Sudan and Pakistan and Yemen and the shadow war in South Africa? Why are we out of there? You know why we're not out of there? Because the United States has imperial designs. They are the imperialist, authoritarian, my accent's getting in the way, a terrorist organization. They're the biggest terrorists in the world. Don't let anyone tell you that the United States is for free press and we're here to fight terrorism and the war on terror. Meanwhile, they're the ones who caused 9/11. They're the ones who did not study, obviously, 1993, Osama bin Laden. They created Osama bin Laden. They created the Mujahideen, which became the Taliban, who now they're trying to fight against. All these regime change wars, Blinken, and you're the one sitting here saying, we got to stop Putin? They spend, $60 billion on their military? We spent $789 billion. Stop his imperial design. How about you stop yours, you a-hole?
That's very significant, and that offers tremendous strategic opportunity for the years to come. But meanwhile, we're determined to do everything we possibly can to make sure that the consequences of all of this are not borne by citizens in our countries, or for that matter, around the world.
Except for the fact that we're going to raise the energy costs of Europe and the United States, by the way, where gas is $5, $6, $7,
The Nord Stream industrial terror attacks were absolutely earth-shattering. I mean, it blew my mind, the fact that the United States would resort to something as unhinged as this. I knew Western officials were completely deranged, but I didn't know it rose to this level. Now, there was a lot of talk as to whether or not these Nord Stream pipeline threads, Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipeline threads could be repaired. It appears as though if they can be repaired, it was going to take years to do so, probably, to fix them all. Now, as of 2 days ago, there were some EU officials that were coming out and saying that they were irreparable. Moscow has come out and countered that claim. They say that the Nord Stream pipelines can be restored. Russia may be able to fix the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, which were damaged earlier this week, Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak said on Sunday. Quote, there are technical possibilities to restore the infrastructure. It requires time and appropriate funds. I'm sure that appropriate funds will be found, Novak told Russia 1 TV.
Now, see, I would go to China, and because the Chinese are some talented individuals. I mean, I remember when my dad was selling his house and there were some Chinese investors coming to buy our houses. And they were saying they wanted to turn these into either luxury homes or other kinds of apartments or even restaurants and stores. And I'm like, looking at my neighborhood going, all these are stores, the way the structures are, the way the streets are, the concrete cement. I'm like, how? And the guy was like, don't worry, we got it. I'm like, wow. I mean, they built a bridge. I think it is like a $20 billion bridge that's over the ocean. Like, come on, you're going to tell me they can't do it? So I'd go to China and ask for that money. I mean, can you imagine?
According to the official, however, the first step should be to determine who is behind the incident. Quote,
The United States.
as of today, we proceed from the fact that it is necessary, first of all, to figure out who did it. And we are sure that certain countries, which had expressed their positions before, were interested in it. Both the US and Ukraine, as well as Poland at one time, said that this infrastructure is not going to work, that they will do everything to make sure of it. So, of course, it is necessary to seriously look into it. Okay, so they're pointing the finger, probably, United States or US intelligence, US help for Ukraine or Poland. Okay. I don't think that they are wrong to point the finger in those directions. But what's so interesting about this is that
neither do I.
All of Europe is silent. I mean, of course, we had the leader of the US-EU delegation, European Parliament, come out. What is his name? Sikorsky. Radek Sikorsky, he came out and said, thank you, United States, and then he posted a photo of the Nordstrom explosion. So he pointed the finger, and then he doubled down, and then he tripled down, and then he quadrupled down in another tweet, and then he deleted the tweets. So Radek Sikorsky, foreign minister and former foreign minister, former defense minister as well for Poland, pointed the finger at the United States. Russia pointed the finger at Anglo-Saxons, likely the United States, and we know where this is going. Now, what's so interesting is that Europe is...
So everyone's pointing the finger at the United States. Everybody. They're all pointing the finger at the United States for reasons, for good reasons. Who wouldn't as soon as I heard about this, by the way, I thought, man, the United States really went that low. I never thought, oh, wow, which other nation could... The biggest perpetrator of this Ukraine war is the United States. They love this war. They can't... It's like they salivate. They probably jerk off to this war. It's just like all of them. I know I went that far, but they love this war. So... obviously, the finger's going to be pointed at the one nation that, would want this the most.
Europe has been absolutely silent. Okay, so Europe is not pointing the finger at Russia because they know who did it.
That's right.
And they know it's the United States.
But they're not going to say it was the United States because guess what? Now they're all dependent on U.S. energy.
Okay, or done with U.S. intelligence and given the green light by the United States, and probably the United States' idea. Okay, now
remember, the U.S. intelligence community is behind all of this. Whenever there's a leader, like, Bernie, when he was really fighting, or you're trying to stand up for, let's say, the Venezuelan embassy. By the way, we're also trying to overthrow Nicolas Maduro, and trying to say that Juan Guaido is the president of Russia, even though he only has like 3% of the population's vote and he's assaulted everywhere he goes and nobody really likes him. We're also trying to do regime change in Venezuela. So, imperial designs, Anthony Blinken, you need to look in the mirror, you asswipe. Anyway, the European Union obviously knows, the United States. It's the United States. I can't do a German accent. However... Jackson does it really well. And Ian probably could do it. It's obvious when everyone knows, like, yeah, he did it.
Now, the United States has responded. All right. So let's see what Joe Biden had to say. Max Blumenthal posted this. He said, asked about Nord Stream, Biden waited until the end of a presser to offer a half-hearted denial. You'd think there'd be more bluster and outrage over one of the worst acts of industrial sabotage and environmental disasters in recent memory. Take a listen.
Now, before we go into Sleepy Joe, who, by the way, looks like Michael Myers, it just woke him up from a nap before he had to say what he's about to say. This guy benefits from all of these wars. When you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for all this war to happen. You're voting for him to have nuclear power and probably want to start a nuclear war with Russia and probably destabilize the world. That's what Joe Biden is. That's who he is, aside from a sleeping, demented, walking death rattle.
Acts of industrial sabotage and environmental disasters in recent memory. Take a listen.
You also asked me earlier about the pipeline. And let me say this. It was a deliberate act of sabotage. And now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies. We're going to work with our allies to get to the bottom of precisely what happened.
Oh, I know. Oh, they're pushing out disinformation. Oh, it's deliberate sabotage. F you. F you, Joe Biden. It's not deliberate sabotage. They will not tell you this in the mainstream media, which is why you got to rely on channels like mine and Jimmy Dore and Jackson Hinkle and Fiorella Isabel, and the Duran and the Convo Couch and all these other guys who will tell you the truth. Don't rely on the Young Turks. Don't rely on Secular Talk Hal Kalinske. Don't rely on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar because they're just going to lie to you because Crystal went from being awesome lefty to corporately owned, by the way. Because she's wrong on China. She smeared Robert Malone on the COVID, you know what? I probably shouldn't have said COVID, but whatever. The thing that goes on your arm, that jab thingy, I don't know what it's called. It starts with a Z, a V, a X. I don't know. But either way, don't rely on those channels. Rely on mine and everybody else. Remember, the United States would do this because it would benefit them because now Russia can't sell energy for the foreseeable future for now because now the United States can sell the energy to Europe and now Russia can't make money. So how would it be a deliberate sabotage? And it's not disinformation Russia's pointing out, but if you don't listen to channels like ours, you will think, oh, wow, Russia's pointing out this, pumping out disinformation.
And at my direction, I've already begun to help our allies enhance the protection of this critical infrastructure. And at the appropriate moment when things calm down, we're going to be sending divers down to find out exactly what happened. We don't know that yet exactly, but we're not.
I do. The United States blew up the pipeline.
What he's saying we know is not true.
The United States blew up the pipeline. You jerk off, you asshole. He gets me so angry. The United States did this. You're going to send divers for what? To verify that? And, oh, see, we found something. Oh, crap, the United States did it. Let's all be quiet about it.
Just don't listen to what Putin's saying. Just don't. We're not going to say that we didn't do it definitively.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the bottom of this.
And then we're not going to tell you that we did it. We're going to classify it so that nobody knows. Like nobody really knows who murdered Kennedy from the CIA or Lyndon Johnson. We're not going to let you find out who really did it. But essentially, we did it, but we kind of didn't do it. We're not going to say we didn't.
And definitely don't listen to what Vladimir Putin is saying. That guy's a liar.
Yeah, because the United States isn't a liar. The United States never lies. They've never lied in their lives. They never lied about the first Gulf War when they said there was baby incubators and terrorists were going in Kuwait. That was a lie to get us into war. How about the weapons of mass destruction? That was a lie to get us into a war. How about overthrowing Gaddafi? All the lies they told there. How about the lies they told about Ukraine? How about the lies they told about Yemen? How about the lies they told about Afghanistan? Yeah. The United States never lies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying that sarcastically.
Yeah, it's a lie. Big liar. Big fat liar. Okay, not surprised. I guess I'm kind of surprised that they didn't come out and definitively say this. I guess what they're worried about, maybe what the Biden administration might be worried. Am I gonna sit here and act like Biden even knows what he's saying? No. But maybe the only reason why the White House might not definitively be coming out and saying this, that they were not responsible, couldn't have been them, is because maybe there's some European officials who are going to be upset about the fact that Russia did this, maybe in Germany. I don't know. And maybe they'll eventually leak this. Maybe it'll be a few months, maybe it'll be years, but they'll leak this. Who knows? Biden still got a lot of time before he needs to, before he seeks his rerun for office, if he actually does that. So,
if he actually can wake up. Folks, if he's not senile enough to not rerun, and if he can even remember where his right and left nut are and where his toes are, and that his wife's not his sister and that his sister's not his wife, and that, if he can figure out where to go after a speech, all of that,
So anyways, Biden, liar, pants on fire, but
absolutely.
bit more of an accurate and truthful tone here from Antony Blinken. Take a look at this. You're not going to believe what Secretary of State Antony Blinken had to say about the Nord Stream pipeline explosions.
Here we
This
go. I'm
is
playing
incredible.
this over again.
Nord Stream explosions are a tremendous opportunity. Washington can now step in as Europe's top supplier of liquefied natural gas. The Biden administration explained.
Huh.
Can you believe this? I mean, come on. Come on.
Suddenly my pockets are... Woo, I need some new pants. Because this money's coming in, baby. All these hundreds of billions of dollars in energy money. Washington can now benefit because, oh, by the way, Russia can't sell energy anymore. We got to find out who did this. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, hey, don't believe what Putin said, but this is a huge opportunity. You know the money we're going to make from this? It's going to be incredible. Like, how?
Like, the people aren't going to benefit. We're not going to give it to the United States people. We're not going to raise wages. We're not going to give them free healthcare. We're not going to give them a free education. We're not going to relieve student debt. By the way, Biden scaled that back. We're not going to do any of that. But did I tell you how much money we're going to make? Oh, my God, we're going to all own new yachts.
How do they just come out and they say this? And, like, there's no ramifications whatsoever?
I think it's because the corruption is so rampant. It's like, oh, well, it's a Tuesday. It's a Wednesday. Who cares? They don't care because it's like, well, screw it. We're going to say it out in the open because, and it's also the propaganda that people spew. The mainstream media for them, no one's going to care. No one's going to care.
There's an empty cell at The Hague for one Antony Blinken. The U.S. views the sabotage of the Nord Stream gas pipelines as a tremendous opportunity. Wow, what a coincidence.
What a coincidence. It's a sabotage. Hey, what a good opportunity for us. That's like if I had a grocery store and I'm the biggest mother effing grocery store in the town, in the city. I am the number one supplier of food and goods and services and products to the community, to the entire city. And then I blow up my own store because it's a good opportunity for me. And now I can't make money. But hey, it's a good opportunity for me. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
To wean EU states off of Russian energy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told reporters on Friday. With winter approaching, Blinken said that the U.S. wants the bloc to use less fuel. Just use less fuel. Washington has for years been trying to convince EU leaders to swap Russian gas for its LNG.
Oh, gee. Use less fuel. Freeze to death, Europe. Freeze to death. Don't run your crematorium. I hate saying crematoriums because what the Germans did. But don't run those. You don't need to conserve energy either. Freeze to death. Hey, the more people we kill in Europe, there's population control. Oh, okay. And oh yeah, come get our energy and pay us more money. It's like the signs are pointing. How is this a sabotage?
The severity of the damage to the undersea conduits now means that the bloc is indefinitely deprived of Russian gas via this route, Russian energy operator Gazprom stated on Friday. And I should also add that the recent Euro sanctions on Russia prevent the further flow of gas through the Turk Stream pipeline as well. So all we have left are some Ukrainian pipelines, if you can believe it.
I wonder why Ukraine doesn't have their pipelines exploded. I wonder, Oh, I know, because they side with the United States.
Pipeline still flowing gas, I believe, there might be one other one, but I believe are Ukrainian pipelines, which is it's just so ironic. Speaking to reporters in Washington, Blinken boasted that the U.S. is now the leading supplier of LNG to Europe. In addition to shipping its own fuel to Europe, Blinken said that the U.S. is working with European leaders to find ways to decrease demand and speed up the transition to renewables.
Now we're shipping our energy in barrels of or whatever. and we're selling our own LNG. We're shipping it off to Europe and in higher quantities. And we want renewable energy, but now we're the ones profiting. But again, it's a deliberate. It's a sabotage. It's a sabotage. I wonder why Russia would sabotage it. So now, okay, I'm Germany, I'm UK, um, I'm Ireland, I'm Holland, and Turkey, and well, I'm everyone in Europe basically. I probably got the countries wrong, and I'm France, and I'm going to stop buying from Russia. And Russia blew up its own pipeline, so I could go buy more energy from the US. Oh, again, I'm just trying to show you it doesn't make sense.
Their green fascist agenda. It's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy and thus to take away from Russian President Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. What do we call it when a country blows up major pipeline routes that took years to produce, billions of dollars invested to make, just so they could secure energy supplying deals with said bloc?
Crime.
Wouldn't that be like globalist
Criminal?
imperialism?
A globalist, globalist tyranny, globalist terrorism, globalist imperialism, all those things.
That'd be imperialism. Isn't that imperialism? You're literally committing like some of the grossest levels of industrial terror, environmental sabotage to exploit the resources of one country and make more money. Like that, it's just globalist imperialism at its finest.
I thought Al Qaeda were the globalist imperialists. I thought ISIS, who were rightly called that, I thought they were the empire that wanted to support imperialism and take over the world in the jihadist state. And I thought they wanted to do that in the extremist state. I thought that was ISIS. I thought that was Al Nusra. I thought that was the Taliban. I didn't know the United States was trying to do that. They say that that's what those terrorist organizations are trying to do, and yet the United States, by the way, funds those terrorist organizations. And they, I don't know. It seems like the United States is also a globalist, tyrannical terrorist organization. Those aren't allegations, by the way, folks. You heard what he just said. They blew up this pipeline to cause industrial and environmental catastrophes all over this world. Sounds like terrorism to me.
Yet they're pointing the finger at Russia still and saying they're the imperialists. No, it's so insane.
Yeah.
So what we should understand from this is that, yeah, the United States is definitely responsible for what took place there in one way or another. Again, regardless of whether they were the ones who actually sent the underwater unmanned vehicle down to go and make this happen and explode the pipelines or not, they stood the most to gain from the situation with regard to the explosions of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. And now they're coming out and saying it, and they're like, yeah, we actually like this, okay? Everyone else in the world is looking at this situation and saying, wow, that is terrible. Massive environmental devastation in this NATO lake in the Baltic Sea. You have the two major pipelines that could address the energy crises that are going to hit Europe this winter, are already hitting Europe this winter. Gas prices skyrocketed after this industrial terror attack. And the United States looks at all it and they're like, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're not going to say whether or not it was us, but we're going to get to the bottom of us. Also, don't believe Putin. And also on top of that, we kind of like that this took place. Just being honest.
Yeah, so I let it play because I kind of like his tune. Again, the United States stands to gain from this. And by the way, they say they care about the environment. Republicans don't care about the environment, which is true. Except apparently Biden doesn't care about the environment because now he caused one of the biggest environmental disasters in this lake in the Baltic Seas. He also increased gas prices here in the United States and in Europe, by the way, because of this war. But especially in Europe, he increased gas prices dramatically. and he is going to cause immense death, economic destruction, famine, and starvation and craziness to happen, and catastrophes, all in the name of imperialism and globalist power and empire, empire terrorism. It's all in the name of that. Biden caused all that to happen. I'm just saying. So now the British and the Italians and the Irish, the UK, all of everybody, Germany, they're all gonna have really massively cold winters, because of the United States blowing up the pipeline that could have resolved this crisis. And if people just didn't side with the West for its absolute garbage stupidity, and fascism. By the way, the United States is a fascist government. Maybe they could have stuck with Russia. Maybe they could have made a deal. Maybe they could have done something else. Hey, we don't want to stick with Russia, but we will do our own thing. We're not going to side with the West. We'll do our own trade thing. We'll do our own policy on energy. We'll find a way to get it to us. I mean, they didn't do that, and now they're screwed. Now Europeans are screwed because now they're not going to pay their energy bills in protest. So it's going to be a harsh winter. And yes, the United States stands to gain a whole lot from this catastrophe. And they like this. They like the fact that Europe can't buy energy from Russia now. They like that now they're going to pay them at 5 times the price. And they like that gas has gone up in every country in the freaking world. And they like that people are going to die and they're going to suffer the worst winter this winter. And it's already affecting them, by the way. So isn't that interesting? Now, let me and all right. Okay. Let me check the chat. Nobody's chatting but me. By the way, we've been live for an hour and 11 minutes. But I want to go see something. I just want to see something here. Let's see here. Here we go. So there's one watching. Okay. Okay. We still have a few more videos to go. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the rest. All right, so as you all know, the United States is doing this all for power. They're doing this all for imperialism, and it's just funny to watch their hypocrisy. So, yeah. Um so let me grab this next tab. But before I this next video, before I post it, I'm going to in the chat, I'm just going to put our Substack sub to our where you can get all of these. And whoops. Oops. I could spell. Won't let us talk about it. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, so that is our email for Substack. Let me see if I can edit that. Okay. Let me reword that. Email us at get channel email at get So this is our channel email that I just posted. And you can post any articles you want us to look at, any channels, any links, any like articles, any videos, any news things you guys find. You guys can email us at that there, and somebody will take a look, more than likely me or one of our staff. And then here's our Substack email. Email our Substack at get Memo at. That is our Substack email. Now, this is the actual website where you can go and subscribe to our Substack. So, sub to our sub. You can get all these stories that YouTube won't let us talk about, and it'll be sub. There we go. So that is our Substack that you guys can check out. Therefore, you guys can view all of our articles that we post there. That is our. So that is our Substack where you guys can go and check it out and view all of our stories. We will talk about the C-19 virus, that thing that took over the world and we can't talk about here on YouTube. We will talk about war. We will talk about the globalist agenda that is of the United States. We'll talk about all of that. Now, let me show you our Substack, actually. Can I do that? All right. So let me see if I can share this tab here. I want to show you what our Substack looks like from the guest point of view. So let's go ahead and check this. And by the way, there's going to be noise now. They have come back. So I'm just going to post. Well, let me share this tab here. And I'm going to just so everyone can kind of see. And here, hold on a second. Here we go. All right. So here's our Substack that you guys can see here. And let me go to it because I want to show something. So here's our thing here, and you can subscribe here. You can, well, for me, this is sign in. So if you ever write your own articles, or if you have a Substack account, you can sign in. You can go home. This is our about page here. All things politics, entertainment, sports, and finance. It's by me. It was launched 3 months ago. So you can type your email in here. So if I wanted to, I could type. And if I were to press subscribe, it would do that. But I don't want to do that because I'm already subscribed. Uh, just because I'm, because I have to have my email there, so I'm notified of payments and all of that. But this is what you're gonna see, and of course, you're gonna see articles like this right here. So this is our article on Australia and a certain medical thing that they did. So that is our Substack. I just wanted to show it. So make sure you go and subscribe. Hopefully I showed you. So let me mute real quick. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Sorry about that. It's just they keep screaming and doing all kinds of things like that. So that is our Substack. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys can subscribe, by the way. I hope you guys enjoy what we have there. Now, on to what we have been talking about so far, which is the European people. Let's just put it this way: burning their energy bills because they understand that it is bull crap what they are, um, what they're being made to do, which is pay higher energy bills for the United States to gain more imperialist power and empirical power and be more terroristic and tyrannical around the world. So they recognize that and they're like, screw you. Um, we don't really agree with you, United States. We don't agree with our governments. Um, but they don't. We don't. They don't agree with their government. Um, they're saying we don't agree with our government and their policies. We don't agree with the fact that we have to now pay higher energy prices for global war that we don't endorse, by the way. So this is another. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me go to my notifications here. It's getting annoying. All right. So So, this is another video by, I'm pretty sure it's Jackson. Yes, it is Jackson Hinkle. I'm sorry about that. But it helps me to explain this better. So, we're going to go over this. the European Union is burning their energy bills, as I said, and we're going to see why. I already told you, but Jackson's going to help us explain it. So here we go.
They're not going to be able to make it. And energy prices are going to continue to skyrocket. And whether or not the government's going to come in and continue raising prices, I mean, we'll see what happens. I would imagine that this 50% cover is not going to do a lot. And as people lose their jobs in increasing sums, as small businesses are going to have to shut their doors, we know what's going to happen. Just this week, we saw that the Eurozone inflation outpaced predictions by a long shot. In some regions of Europe right now, countries are seeing key inflation markets of levels of 14% increases. In Germany, I think it was about 10.7% increase in inflation. And the UK is no different. The UK is getting hit very hard with inflation, with a decline in real wages, with these unprecedented levels of energy price increases, which of course have instantaneous trickle-down impacts on businesses all across the country.
Now, remember that these inflationary prices and the inflationary crisis we are in the United States and in all over the world, in Europe, in Africa, and everywhere else, is all due to the United States needing a bit more war in their system. That's all it is. It's you're seeing your food go up at the grocery store. You're seeing your sporting goods go up. You're seeing your clothing prices go up. You're seeing you're seeing your gas prices go up to $7-8 a gallon, probably even more. By the way, in the chat, if there's anyone watching at all, or if anyone cares to or wants to, put your gas prices down in the chat. I want to see them. I want to see your gas prices. I want you to blow me away. I'm kind of not blown away because I get it. I understand. But that's why we are all suffering here, and why people are getting lower wages. People are now paying higher prices because there's a higher demand for the sulfur. Remember that Russia had a lot of sulfur that the United States wanted, and they were asking the trucking people to go and pick it up anyway, and the shipping people, but the insurance companies didn't want to insure that because they didn't want to suffer any sanctions. And so now the United States is in a bit of a pickle. They're in a bit of a problem, and we went over that in the stream that I posted in the chat. So be sure you check that out. So that's why these inflationary prices are hitting Europe and everyone else so badly.
We also can see that in the UK right now, consumer confidence hits a record low. UK consumer confidence has fallen to its lowest levels since records began in 1974 amid deep concerns about personal finances and the economy over the next 12 months, a study by research group GfK found. According to the report issued on Friday, the confidence index decreased by 5 points to negative 49 this month. Worse than earlier projections by The Economist. The reading marked the fourth new low in the last 5 months, with all measures once again severely depressed.
So to add to all the inflationary prices, to add to the high energy crisis, high energy bill crisis, the high cost of energy, to add to the explosion of the Nordstrom pipeline, now there's really not enough energy going into Europe. Now the consumer confidence is down to negative 49 or negative 59, whatever. I kind of forgot what he just said. So the crisis just keeps getting worse, and yet we're still continuing this war. It kind of blows me, right? Blows me away.
The largest falls were in personal finances over the next year, which was down 9 points, and confidence in the economy over the next year, which was down 8 points. So
that's right. So people's personal finances, they can't save now if they're invested in the stock market. The market's going crazy. Now, I'm a financial consultant, so I know that you should hold your stocks and all, and I'm saying that as a professional. But even then, people are worried, even if they don't invest in the stock market, even if they have a college savings for their kids, if they have a retirement fund, if they have if their bills have skyrocketed by tenfold, and now they Now the budget that they normally could make in their households are now not enough. Yeah, of course their personal finance confidence is going to go down, and then when the inflationary prices are here and the energy crisis is here, and of course everything in the economy is going to get destroyed, and that's why they don't have confidence in the economy that they live in. So of course, I'm trying to fix my cords here. So of course the consumer level confidence is going to go down in economics and personal finance and everything else.
So the situation is not good, and it's getting worse. The government has come in, and this is the UK press release. They say that they are going to support homes and households and businesses over these increased energy bills. But let me remind you that Sunak came out and said that, hey, look, we're only going to support you for 50% of the increase in cost over the previous price cap that we had set in the country.
So we'll pay half, you pay half. It sounds like they're trying to say, listen, we're going to order some pizza, and we're going to order hundreds of millions of boxes of pizza, billions of dollars worth, and you guys pay us half for the pizza. Cool? So Sunak came out and said, we're not going to help you fully. We're not going to lower your energy prices. That could be a good idea. We're not going to keep them the way they were before, maybe even lower them. We're not going to help you subsidize them. What we're going to do is we'll pay half and you pay the rest, even though it's still going to be too high for you to pay and you don't have the money to pay it. Isn't that crazy?
Meaning that UK households and businesses, small businesses, are going to be they're going to be responsible for probably tens of billions of dollars of increases in energy prices in the UK. So the situation is not good in the UK. They're trying to paint it off as like, oh, well, we're going to cover you guys. We got you. No, they don't got you. It's about to get way worse.
Yeah. Here's Joe Biden and the Republicans saying, because they also support this war, and then they cry about inflation, even though they voted for this war, even though they voted for more of the military funding to go to Ukraine. And that funding is actually going in a slush fund to the CIA, the FBI, the NIH, because you know that they're going to take it to the DEA, anyone that you can imagine. They're all going to, the Department of State, the Department of Defense, the DOD, all of them are going to get it, and the generals are going to get it, and Biden's going to get it. It's all going to go there, and then the money that does go to Ukraine and the weapons that do go to Ukraine are going to be intercepted by Russia, and then Russia's going to either destroy them or keep them and use them on the Ukrainians. Oops. On the Ukrainian soldiers and on Ukrainian power plants and energy centers and weaponry, artillery, and all that. So, and armory. So, yeah, that's going on. But the UK doesn't got their backs. They're the ones raising these prices, and these small businesses, like he said, it's tens of billions of dollars. That means, hey, we got to shut down our business now because we don't have the money to provide you what we said we were going to provide you. We don't have the money to keep our doors up. We don't have the money to keep a roof over our heads anymore. So, oh, by the way, that's also going to increase the homeless population all over Europe.
And they've only got you like by a margin of 50%. We know that margin of 50% is not going to do anything.
Exactly.
And it's actually going to, the situation is going to exacerbate the more that prices increase, because businesses can't operate. If businesses can't, if a forgery, if a cake shop, if a coffee shop, if industrial companies, if they can't afford energy prices, they lay off their workers, and so on and so forth. This is a positive feedback loop. The cycle is going to just get worse and worse.
So not only do they fire their workers, okay, but now they can't sell their goods. And so they can't sell their goods now because they can't afford the energy crisis, the energy bills. So they can't afford their energy bills anymore. They can't afford to buy the goods that'll be in their coffee shop, the forgery shop, their pottery shop, their clothing store, their bakery, their coffee shop, whatever. The industrial companies, they can't afford it anymore. They can't afford to buy their goods. They can't afford to stock up their shelves and their pallets and all that. And now they don't have the money to pay their employees. So guess who's going to go first? The employees. And then these companies are going to go bankrupt. And then these employees are going to lose any health care, any pensions, any tax benefits, any vacation. They don't need vacation days anymore. They don't have a job. They're gonna lose any pay, any goodies that they got in their job. They're now gonna lose them because obviously these businesses can't operate.
That's why I said today on Twitter, I said, the situation of the Western economic crisis right now does not present any real solutions. Like, there's no simple, easy way outs that I see at this late stage. The situations, the crises from 2008 were never addressed. They were kicked down the road until the situation we're seeing today, and now there's no way of getting out. So on top of that, of course, you had COVID, you have the supply chain issues, you have this energy crisis. It is not good, and it's only getting worse from here. And this is how the UK people are responding with a campaign called Don't Pay UK. We discussed it.
So, uh, I'll let it continue. But the first thing is, that's right. All they did in 2008 was gave Wall Street a bunch of freaking bailouts, and then they said, "Screw you, Americans." Obama threw 5.1 million people out of their homes, and then they foreclosed upon those homes, and then gave them to the banks. The banks then sold those homes for bigger profits, and then, he didn't do anything to prosecute the big banks. He, in fact, made them bigger than they were in 2008. He didn't give any stimulus help to the people. He gave Wall Street like $300 billion or more. He gave all the rich tax cuts. And this whole energy built up to when Trump was president, and then the COVID virus happened. And then, of course, the all of that was just boom, it exploded. And now we're in this problem where now we have this energy crisis. Now we have this inflation crisis. Now we have all of this problem. And now there's a campaign in the UK where 1 million people, it's a Don't Pay UK campaign. It's a campaign called the Don't Pay UK. And essentially what they're saying is, we're not going to pay our energy bills because you're making them too freaking high. We're not going to support you and make this gravy train continue to all the powers and the elites in our governments around the world, and especially here in Europe. So now the UK has 1 million people saying, we're not going to pay our energy bills and we're going to burn them. So that's what the the Don't Pay UK campaign is, in short.
This in the past, the campaigners are urging Britons to strike over energy bills. Okay. The protest group repeats calls to not to pay unless electricity and gas tariffs are made affordable, as 193,000 sign up. So more than 193,000 people have pledged to strike from paying their energy bills if 1 million Britons commit to not paying. Originally, the Don't Pay campaign had pledged not to pay from October 1st. The date regulator Ofgem's price cap was due to rise. If 1 million people had signed up, the scale would give safety in numbers from repercussions, the anonymous organizers argued. The cap had been due to the increase by 80% to £3,549 pounds from Saturday, and hit £5,400 in January. Instead, under Liz Truss's energy price guarantee, on average, annual bill will be capped at £2,500 for 2 years. All right, the group's 1 million people target has remained. It has now demanded a reduction in energy bills to an affordable level and pledged to withhold payment together if they are ignored. So very interesting stuff there. And there was a really big protest this week in which Britons were actually burning their energy bills to protest the soaring prices. So take a look at this.
So not only were they saying we need a strike, by the way, when's America going to do a general strike? What we need to do is every Uber driver, post office worker, grocery store worker, wood shop worker, hardware store worker, restaurant worker, fast food place worker, taxis, Ubers, every industry, the farming industry, the steel industry, the metal industry, everybody needs to just shut this country out, like shut it down. They did it in India. Every industry went on strike. If we did a general strike here in the United States, I guarantee you, every people go, okay, what do you want? What do you want? Healthcare here, high wage here, in the transportation sector, airlines, everybody should strike. Everybody. Imagine that. So now they've gone from a lot of people pledging, 193,000 pledging, hey, we're not going to pay our energy bills because they're too high. Cheerio, peep peep cheerio. Are you okay with this, Nigel? I'm okay with it, yeah. Sound more Australian, but either way, I'm sorry for the terrible accent. So now they're going from, hey, we're not going to pay to we're going to burn your energy bills.
This is incredible. This is how you should respond when governments are avoiding your basic needs. They're ignoring your basic needs, and they're telling you to suffer in the face of adversity rather than, averting the crisis at all or pursuing any sort of course correction. Brits burn energy bills to protest soaring prices. The new government cap allows average household energy bills to rise to £2,500. That is not affordable. Okay. Thousands marched in London and other UK cities on Saturday over the high costs of living, while some burned their electricity and utility bills in protest. People carried signs that read, "Can't afford to live, freeze profits, not people, and eat the Tories." Grassroots campaign Don't Pay UK, which co-organized the protest, said it wants to pressure the government to reducing energy bills to an affordable level by convincing 1 million people to not pay them. Millions of us simply won't be able to keep our heads above water, and many will freeze when the weather turns cold. Here is a video.
Seems like a lot of fun.
So there you have it.
That kind of seemed like a lot of fun. That's kind of cool. Let me check the chat here. Nope. But they're right. We can't even pay our bills because you've raised everything. There's an inflationary crisis. And now you want me to pay, right? These high energy bills. So that seemed like a lot of fun. It seemed like a lot of fun what they were doing there, even though they're protesting.
Here's another video.
Here we go. They're cheering. They're burning them. There you go. And this is an actual protest, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention, America. People in the United States need to pay attention to this. This is exactly how people should be protesting.
So what I think is interesting about these protests is, as you can see, it's all walks of life. It's all different ethnicities. It's all different age groups. You saw young people, you saw old people, you saw mothers and fathers, and all across the UK.
The reason I think it's a good thing it's good that he kind of pointed that out, because it's not just some Trump supporters or some Russian agents or some planted people that are trying to protest Biden. They're trying to protest Biden and the rest of the goddamn European government for raising their prices so high. So as you can tell, it affects everybody: your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your neighbors, your coworkers, your community, your congregations, your PTAs, your schools, your teachers, your friends, everybody. It affects everybody, and that's what that protest showed.
So they're serious about this. They have 193,000 people signed up thus far, and let me just tell you, as the situations continue, more and more people are going to sign up because the crisis is going to get worse. 2,700, 2,300 pounds. That's way too much for any family, any individual to be able to afford to pay. Yeah, $208. They're not going to be able to make this happen.
Now, by the way, $208 here is still a lot of money. Our power was $213 last. I think it was like in August. So, I mean, it's getting really high over here. No, I'm not getting high, but yeah, it's really, really high. And I mean, 2,700 pounds is $208. That's way too much money to be paying for energy. And these people are not going to be able to afford it. That's a lot of money.
I guarantee you they're not going to be able to make this happen. $208 at a time when we know in the UK, there's like countless people. I think it was over 50% of the country said that they can't afford an unexpected expense of over like $800 or 800 pounds. No, they're not going to be able to make it.
So they can't afford a surprise emergency, an unexpected expense of 800 pounds or $800. So you're gonna expect them to now pay $208 or 2,700 pounds for energy? Like, are you crazy? And here 78 of America 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I bet you that's like 95% of people live paycheck to paycheck. And 40% of the people can't afford a $400 surprise emergency. Uh um 40% of the most hungry people are in the United States. Um, I mean, the numbers are staggering. And so if we're going through it and they're going through it, they can't afford unexpected expenses. Guess what? These energy price increases are unexpected increases and unexpected energy jump in prices, jump in energy prices, and they're unwanted. So now you're going to expect them, if they can't afford anything else in their daily lives, to now be able to afford energy. Our governments don't think, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why there's a lot of people protesting.
And energy prices are going to continue to skyrocket. And whether or not the government's going to come in and continue raising prices, I mean, we'll see what happens. I would imagine that this 50% cover is not going to do a lot. And as people lose their jobs in increasing sums, as small businesses are going to have to shut their doors, we know what's going to happen. We know what we know is going to happen is an absolute crisis level situation in the UK, something that they are not going to be able to avert or present any easy solutions out of. I would have to say that Liz Truss is probably on borrowed time. I don't see the situation in the UK getting any better anytime soon, and I don't think anyone has any real trust in Liz Truss to make it happen. I think she's going to have one of the shortest premierships in the country's history. Maybe they'll bring Rishi Sunak in. We know that Labor's numbers are very high right now. They're pulling very high, or higher than usual.
So Liz Truss is also someone who said she can't wait to use nuclear weapons, by the way. Her panties are like ready to get wet over the use of a nuclear button and a weapon. I'm sorry, I know I had to go there, but I mean, it's Joe Biden's underwear getting bulgy for that. I know I'm getting a little sexual, but hey, I'm not a part of the mainstream media. I can say whatever the hell I want, within limits on YouTube. But yeah, she's on very borrowed time. If this situation continues and it doesn't get better, there's a reason labor numbers are very, very high, and we just explained it all to you.
I don't know though. It's like, no, who's gonna be able to address this? Again, it's kind of a similar thing that we're going to see in the United States. Energy prices are going to rise in the United States. We know that this inflation is going to increase in the United States. Okay, if a Republican gets elected, that's not going to, even if they like campaign on saying like, we're going to address this stuff and this is all bad, Joe Biden's absolutely screwed us. Well, they're not going to be able to address this crisis. You can't just come in and fix the problems of years past and of, irreparable damage that was done throughout COVID and throughout this Ukraine war and stuff. It's a complete clown world and shit show, and nothing that they can do at this late stage is going to avert the crisis.
That is true. Just to end this segment, you're not just gonna get some random Republican who, by the way, is bought by the energy sector. So good luck there. The energy sector loves this, so they're gonna go, yeah, hey, you Republican, Ron DeSantis, you're not gonna effing fix this shit. That's what they're gonna tell them. But you're not just gonna magically walk in and in a miracle pass a law and it's gonna be fixed. No, it's gonna take years and years of repair, and it's gonna require the right steady hand in government, who will never be elected because CIA will try and kill you before you even get to the pinnacle of the highest levels of government. So there you go. So they blew up the Nordstrom pipeline. They raised the energy bills. They raised inflationary prices. They caused inflationary increases to happen. No one can afford their average bills in Europe, let alone here in the United States. People are protesting by burning their energy bills, and this whole thing is a mess. And there's no way to repair this at all. So let's check the chat. I'm gonna lean back for a little bit. Oh gosh. I want to see if I can. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to share this on Twitter. Currently live. Having a great. Whoops. I can't type. Come join us. There we go. And let me go to Facebook and share this one more time. I wonder if it'll make one difference. Oscar Montiel, let me know if you're still here, dude. Let me know if you're still listening to me rant. Oh, wait. Let's cancel. Delete. I went into the wrong social media site. Live, comma, come join us, period. We will discuss Ukraine trying to get into NATO next. I'm using dictation, folks. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, before I continue on with the next story, which will be on NATO, and before I go to the restroom, let me close this tab out, and I'm going to go and you should follow us on Twitter. So follow us on Twitter at. I really should create an Instagram for my a Twitter and all that, but I'll just use my personal fluffy. And then follow. Okay, doesn't want to type correct. Follow us on Insta at fluffy. Oops. Jade 7. And sub to our sub at get. Oh. Get on. This is the way that we make money, ladies and gentlemen. Is if you guys can support us on Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry, on Substack. That is the way we make money because I don't have any YouTube chats and like in terms of the in terms of the super chats. I don't have any of that, and YouTube has pretty demonetized all of my videos. So if you could support us there, that would be nice. Let me go ahead and go to the restroom. I will be right back. I cannot speak, and we will continue. Oscar, let me know if you're here, man. I realize that I'm very freaking hungry. So let me text because I can't find our dinner from last night. We had leftovers. I'm still live, but do we still have it, or should I order? I'm just trying to answer some messages because some people. Okay. Trying to debate if I should. Let's hope I don't have to order. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to see what I'm going to be doing, if I need to end this show now or if I should continue. Um Let me see. All right, so for now, let's see what the next segment is. All right, so we've got two videos coming up. One of Jimmy Dore, and then the last one, of course, of Jackson Hinkle. Oops. Okay, hold on. So before I... So let's... So we're going to do this. So we're going to stop that. We're going to go here. All right. So Ukraine, as you know, has been saying that it wanted to be a part of NATO for so long. And like I said, like an hour ago on the stream to start it, publicly they're saying, yeah, we're going to be a part of NATO. However, privately, they've already been told, no, you're not going to be here. Now, I was going to go over a point a few like videos ago, but I'll go over it now. There's a reason why Ukraine cannot be a part of NATO. And the reason that it cannot be a part of NATO is a couple things. Number one, Ukraine doesn't really have its own industries. Everyone always makes things for them, from clothing to weapons to you never know what. So because it doesn't have its own industries, they're kind of weak. Because in order to be a member of the NATO organization, you need to be strong. You need to have your own industries. You need to be able to go to war whenever they ask you to, whenever it's needed. You need to be able to how do I put this? You need to be able to fight. You need to be able to contribute, right? It's kind of Naeem Abul Hawa, our friend, put it like in a study session where you have this study group that gets A's and B's, maybe even C's, but usually all A's in the group, right? In school. And then you have this other guy, he kind of wants to join, and all he does is get F's. He really is not a good study person. He doesn't have good study habits. He's kind of a pain in the ass to work with. And his grades aren't that good. And it's going to ruin the capacity of the group. The averages are going to curve, all of that. So you don't really want to tell him, like, hey, in public, yeah, you're not going to be in the group, right? Because you don't want to be the bully. But in private, you're going to say, listen, man, you kind of can't, we're just not going to let you in. And it's because he doesn't have the capacity to do it. So that is Ukraine. They don't have the capacity for anything. They cannot help NATO. They're seen as weak, so why would NATO allow them? So NATO gave them that. Now, Ukraine decided to try something, to be use their balls and say, oh yeah? Well, we have an idea. We are going to try and do a fast track membership into NATO. And the reason that we're going to do a fast track membership into NATO is because, well, we just want to be in there and we want to act tough and right. So this video is from Jimmy Dore, and what we're going to be discussing here is Noam Chomsky's in it and Biden's in it. I think Biden's in it. Why they would do this? I just told you it's because they want to be seen as powerful, Essentially, there's a lot more reasons that Ukraine wanted to be in NATO. And by the way, Ukraine joining NATO, Russia doesn't want that, because now that if Russia's got a problem with Ukraine, America's got a problem with Ukraine, France has got a problem with Ukraine, Germany, Holland, Turkey, and now Finland and Ireland, and everyone's got a whole problem with Ukraine now. And essentially, that's a big problem with Russia now. If Ukraine's got a problem with Russia, then right? So that puts more troops on Russia's border, and it doesn't want that. Who would want that? So let's go ahead and go over this.
Ukraine formally applies for fast track into NATO membership.
Oh, they're going to be a made man, not just a mafia associate.
I think so.
I'm putting you up to be made.
Made man. You're gonna have your own crew. You can go anywhere you want. You're going to Sweden, Switzerland. Fuck them up. I don't care. Nobody can touch
But
you.
you kick up.
You always kick up.
Money flows up.
You give your respect.
Respect.
You give your respect. This is your tribute.
I should not come with my hat in my hands.
This is my tribute. So here's what Chomsky said about this.
The question that we ought to be asking ourselves is, why did NATO
Noam
even
Chomsky.
exist after 1990? Throughout the whole history of the Cold War, we were told NATO is necessary to defend Western Europe from the Russian hordes. Okay? No more Russian hordes.
Now, before I let him continue, this clip by Noam Chomsky, one of the reasons that the Soviet Union kind of fell down and came down was James Baker and all these guys, all these goons promised Mikhail Gorbachev, who just died, by the way, so rest in peace, I guess. They celebrated him. It's funny, they were against him, and then they celebrated him. Essentially, they promised him that they wouldn't expand NATO an inch east of Germany. Well, then Clinton kind of came in and started expanding a little bit, added the Baltic states, and so did Bush, right? And then Bush came in, Bush Senior. Bush Jr. came in, because that happened under Bush Senior. Bush Jr., I'm a Bush. I'm the complicate. The single moms putting food on their children, misunderestimated. The guy who took us into war, and he's a war criminal, and did the subprime mortgage crisis in the Great Recession of 2008, subprime mortgage crisis of 06, 07, and then the Great Recession 07, 08. So then he started expanding it way east. But again, it was a verbal confirmation. Yeah, we're not going to do that. So they lied to him.
What happens to NATO? It expands. Okay. It expands to the east. Its mission changed. Its official mission now is not to defend Europe from the Russian hordes. It's to control the global energy system. Sea lane.
That's exactly what this war is about. It's all about the West wanting to sell energy to Europe and screw over Russia.
What they call.
Yeah. So remember what we discussed in the last segment? Why the United States would blow up the Nord Stream pipeline? Why the Brits are burning their energy bills? Why? Right? It's so that the United States can start making money off Europe. And so that Europe now has to buy energy from the United States. That's what this entire war is about, aside from getting Ukraine into NATO. The main thing is for fossil fuels. The main thing is for energy costs to go up so that the United States can make money off of them, and then you screw over the people of the European Union and the United States. That's the whole reason. It's not for democracy. It's not because Putin's a dictator. It's not because of any of those reasons. It's really because of the United States wanting to sell energy to Europe. That's it. Fossil fuels. That's it. Nothing else.
They call it. I saw a thing about it today. The area where all our bases are in the world, like that country, is called the Great Area. That's
really?
on the maps. And yeah, because I was trying to look up that RAND stuff. That's our empire. It's called the Great Area. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Pipelines, and to serve as a U.S.-run intervention force. Well, we're all educated intellectuals. We can now ask a question. What was the nature of the propaganda we were fed all those years? I mean, if NATO was there to defend the West from the Russians, why is it now expanding right to the borders of Russia, becoming a global U.S. intervention force, protecting sea lanes and pipelines and so on? What that tells us is all the talk about the Cold War was just a pure lie. And there's plenty more evidence for that, which we can go into. Educated
intellectuals don't talk about that stuff.
Nope.
So Ukraine on Friday formally requested an accelerated accession to join NATO. The move was intended to draw attention away from Vladimir Putin's elaborately staged speech earlier in the day, in which he announced the annexations to an audience seated under gilded chandeliers. I don't know what that means. Gilded chandeliers? What is it?
Oh, those are just really fancy chandeliers.
Highly decorative.
Right? Why would you?
It's gilding.
Why would they include that in the story?
Because they gilded the story.
Every democracy in Europe has the right to apply for NATO membership, and NATO allies respect that right. And we have stated again and again that NATO's door remains open. So that's
but behind closed doors, we said it's not
right.
open.
But that's how you start a World War III. You keep expanding NATO. You keep breaking the promises you made.
Hey, we'll move in any territory we want.
Zelensky's announcement came mere hours.
That's exactly right, by the way. If you keep expanding NATO, if you keep adding countries, you keep taunting Russia, and you keep putting more troops on their border, you're bound to start World War III, especially when he sides with China and Syria and Libya and Iran, and then other people start going against the dollar and the United States. That's exactly what this is. It's going to start World War III. You thought World War II was bad with the technology they had then? Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. You can't even escape to Netherlands, Switzerland, nothing. There will be no neutral party.
After Putin, in his speech, vowed to use all the powers at his disposal to defend the four Ukrainian territories he annexed following hastily organized sham referendums.
At least they had that. We didn't even have one about giving them money. They're like, oh no, you're all into this.
I know.
They didn't even have a sham referendum.
I would have wished we had a sham referendum at least. They call them sham referendums, but
sham referendum.
European countries condemn the votes as a pretext. They're all about when it serves them. They're about stop the steal.
Yeah, right.
When the shit libs, they oh yeah, you can't trust any election.
That amazing?
Yeah, European.
Yeah, so you can't talk about the 2020 election and say, hey, I don't think the votes were counted right. You can't say stop the steal. I'm probably going to get banned for saying that or censored or something. But you can talk about all the 2016 election all you want. You can say that it was that Trump is not a legitimate president, which he was, by the way. You could say that the votes were stolen in 2016. You could say all of that. But you can't about 2020, except these dumbass shit libs, these blue check liberals, come out and what do they say? We don't agree with this vote. We don't agree with this vote. Oh, now you can talk about it. You see the hypocrisy of the Democrats and the liberals in Congress and in government?
European countries condemn the votes as a pretext to further violate Ukraine's sovereignty.
And by that, I mean our sovereignty.
Yeah. During his address, Putin called upon Kiev to cease military action and said Moscow was open to negotiations, although Ukraine has long insisted that it will not stop fighting. So Russia, by the way, when they say they're open to negotiations, they were open to negotiations, and there was almost a settlement in March or April. And then, of course, NATO sabotaged it.
Nice.
That's right. Remember, I told you how Boris Johnson went out there. I told you how Zelensky blew it off. I told you all of that. And NATO, Trump was right about NATO being obsolete. He was right that we shouldn't even be a part of NATO. NATO shouldn't even be a thing. Trump was actually right on that. And then he got into office and he cucked like a little bitch. That's what Trump did. I agreed with Trump in 2016. We didn't need NATO. We don't need NATO anymore. It's not necessary. They're not fighting for anything except more imperial disgrace of war, more imperial tyrannical terrorism, globalism around the world. But yeah, exactly. They want negotiations, but they're just going to continue sabotaging it because remember, they don't want it. They don't want it.
Right? So now Putin's like, well, F you.
He's calling them bitches.
He's we're not doing it anymore. So now, before we were willing to negotiate, now we're just telling you how it is. We're taking those areas. They're becoming a part of official Russia. We're annexing them. And that's that. And that's exactly how we said at the beginning of this, how the war was going to end. Russia was going to annex the Donbass, or it was going to become independent.
Oh, I thought I thought you were going to say it depends on if we can get Mo Green or not.
And Ukraine is not going to be entered into. So this whole thing is not going to happen. Ukraine is not going to be admitted into NATO.
So what he's saying here is that, and what I've been saying on this show is that the United States and Russia and Ukraine, they had a chance to negotiate. They did. But did they? No. They kept saying F you, F you, F you. Here's a middle finger. F you. We're not going to negotiate, pretty boy. It's not going to happen. We're not doing it. And now Putin's like, listen, I gave you all the opportunity in the world, so fuck you. F you. I'm going to annex these 4 territories in Ukraine, the LDP, Donetsk, Luhansk, the Donbass region. I'm going to annex all these places, and you're going to like it. Zavros, the Kherson region. We're going to take all of these, and you're not going to just do a single thing about it or say, I don't care what kind of shit you're not going to say shit about it. I ain't even care because I gave you that opportunity. I gave you that opportunity and you did not take it. Now I'm going to take these lands, and this is exactly what a lot of people like Jimmy Dore were saying was going to happen in the war. They're going to annex parts of Ukraine, including these, or make them independent. And NATO's Ukraine is not going to be a part of NATO. NATO's not going to gain a new member named Ukraine. We've known this all along. The United States knew this all along. This war could have been over. This inflation could have been over. The energy bills in Europe did not have to go up. But no, all for the name of imperialism, it continued. All right, let's go.
Russia is not going to put up with it. It's not going to happen. Russia and China won't put up with it.
Nope. And you really don't want to mess with a global superpower in China.
Zelensky responded in his own address, saying that while Ukraine was open to negotiations, such talks were impossible with Putin and would have to be with another Russian president. So he's being told to say that because that plays in the West, because the West doesn't want a negotiated settlement.
Zelensky said, believe me, I asked. They said no.
Yeah. The West wants the war. This is what the West wants.
The United States wants this war for so many reasons. A, the resources. B, the defense contractors are making. You guys know how much they're making. They're making a huge amount of money. A huge amount of money. They are, I mean, this is, whoo. I mean, you literally cannot speak. You cannot ignore that. The defense contractors are making unimaginable, infallible amounts of money. Just holy crap, tons of money. Seriously. And then, of course, the energy. They want Europe to buy United States energy for a higher price. And again, we've gone over it a million times this show. It's going to raise the prices of everything in Europe, everything in the United States. No one's going to pay their energy bills in Europe. They're going to burn their energy bills, and it's going to be one of the worst winters in Europe. And the United States wants it, and the entire West wants it because everyone makes money, and not you and me. No, everyone else makes money. And of course, they will tell Zelensky, no, we're not going to negotiate with Putin. We want another president. It's just because they know Putin has a strong support system in Ukraine. And in Ukraine, but also they you know, it's. They know that he has a strong support system in Russia. They know, I got lost a little bit. The people in Russia support Putin strongly. They're not just going to vote him out, right? Now, the United States, the CIA infiltrated the Russian election, by the way, in 2011 to try and get Putin against the wall. There were all these protests, but he won. And that's the reason they say that he wanted revenge against Hillary Clinton. Yeah, okay. Now, the big thing here is this, right? They need to negotiate, but they don't want to, again, because it's, hey, if the war continues, we'll continue. We're not going to negotiate.
That's why they blew up the pipeline.
We wrote an essay about it on that thing you could read.
In his comments on Friday, NATO's Stoltenberg warned that Putin's mobilization of fresh troops, his nuclear saber rattling, and illegal annexation represent the most serious escalation since the start of the war. I would think us sending hundreds of billion, all those weapons to Ukraine for the last 8 years, I think that would be considered an escalation.
I think the nuclear talk, being cool about it's kind of a serious escalation more than.
How about us blowing up the pipelines?
Yeah, we taunted Russia for 8 years, even though we had a diplomatic agreement set between the United States, Germany, the UK, Russia, Ukraine, the rest of Europe, everybody that said, hey, we're going to have peace. And they never had it over 8 years. And we just kept sending weapons after weapons after weapons. We had that. And they never followed the peace agreement. They never followed the diplomatic agreement. And they taunted Russia. And Russia acted. And now they're like, oh my God, I can't believe Russia acted. And yeah, us deciding to talk about, hey, we could just nuke Ukraine, Russia. Ukraine said we could still use nuclear weapons, despite the U.S. saying no. Us having 1,000 bases around the Caribbean Sea and the Red Sea and all that, and around China and everywhere else, that's illegal. That's escalation. We're the ones that escalate all of this. We are the bad guys in the United States, the government.
Do you think that was an escalation? How about that? How about all our sanctions on Russia? You think those are escalations?
Yeah, by the way, the sanctions, as Naim al-Bulhawa rightly pointed out, in Afghanistan and here in the Russian government, those Russian oligarchs have their money everywhere. They're not going to get hurt by this. The Russian people are the ones that are going to be hurt. Those sanctions are hurting everybody. Hey, but it's okay.
How about us getting in bed with literal Nazis in Ukraine to kill people in the Donbass? You think
That's
that
right.
was an escalation?
I mean, we're the police. We are supposed to do that.
Yeah. We're escalating on purpose. That's what we're doing. And now they're complaining about Putin escalating, even though we're the ones that have been doing this from the start of not only this war, but the last one when they did the coup under Obama and Biden.
This is criminals.
I would love to have Chris Hedges here right now for this segment, but our goddamn internet, which is getting fixed for certain on October 15th. So we're getting our own dedicated landline for our goddamn fucking internet that isn't shared by the neighborhood. And that is supposed to solve all our problems. But that was told to me by an IT guy who turned out to be a criminal.
Big criminal. There is no great internet. It's like, it doesn't exist. It was scam. Was he Nigerian or something? Is that what?
No. He was pretending he was one of those guys, super Christian, always suspect of super Christians.
What's super mean? Like he was
super, like he said, he said, he goes,
Yes.
I celebrate Jesus' birthday on the 25th of every month.
What?
Yeah. That kind of fucking crazy.
Okay, I grew up super Christian. That is not.
First time I ever heard it done.
I swear I know of no, and I know a lot.
I should have got rid of him then. Like, you're nuts.
I know no Christian doctrine where you celebrate Jesus' birthday every month on the 25th. And if you have a Christian Hedges doctor, he has like a divinity degree. I promise to be like, that's not.
But hey, it's nice working with you. We're gonna end today. Thanks. I'm gonna pay. And then he stole fucking money from me. God, it's a birthday. Did you steal that money from me? Virginia Beach, Richmond, Arlington, San Jose, Miami.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to let that continue. So to end this, I mean, I wish I could continue, but we just can't. We could. One more video, but there you go. Russia keeps escalating. According to the NATO person there, Stoltenberg. I don't even know if that's his name, but the United States has been, the blowing up of the pipelines, us sending troops to every country in the goddamn world, us having bases, the fact that they were sending weapons for 8 years, the fact that they're the ones doing all these globalist activity, and it definitely does not help. Let me see. Hold on a second. All right. So Now we know that the U.S. is infiltrating everything. We know that we know that the U.S. are the main aggressors in everything. We know they're the reason that this is all going bad. We know that the West is the reason this war is continuing. We know that it's energy that is continuing this all. We understand that. Now you know who else understands that? Henry Kissinger. So he was a horrible Secretary of State. I mean, I don't know if this is gonna work. Here we go. All right, here, let me see. Okay. So Henry Kissinger was in the 70s. He was Richard Nixon's Secretary of State. He was a corrupt individual. Although I do agree with Henry Kissinger and Richard Nixon, although I don't agree with them often at all, is their relationship with China. They actually got along with China. Now, I don't agree with the fact that they got rid of our gold currency as our base currency. However, Kissinger understands that we cannot have Ukraine in NATO and that it's not a wise decision. Now, there are many countries that are supporting, about 9 countries in the NATO organization and the NATO membership, that are supporting Ukraine's entrance into the organization. Now, this is back to Jackson Hinkle, and we're going to go over why it's not a good idea for Ukraine to join NATO. So, let's go ahead and hear what Jackson has to say, but also what Kissinger has to say. It's not going to play. Oh.
9 member states that are coming out and saying, like, yeah, nuclear holocaust is great. Let's do it. Let's bring Ukraine into NATO. At the same time that even Henry Kissinger is coming out and saying, yeah, it's not wise to let Ukraine join NATO. Here's why. As you all know, Zelensky put forward a failed expedited application to join NATO just this week. It was really weird, and it was actually completely unexpected by all European powers and the White House. The White House was just in shambles, scrambling the morning that he did that. They did not expect that. No one saw that coming. It was completely out of left field.
Yeah. The fact that nobody expected it, that should tell you something, right? That absolutely should tell you that not only did people not expect it, he's kind of trying to power move. It's not really working because it fails, by the way. It fails. But yeah, the fact that it even caught Biden, Sleepy Joe off guard, most of the things catch him off guard. He doesn't even know where he lives. Delaware. No, Mr. President, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Oh, that's where we are. Okay. But the fact that it even caught the whole world off guard is like, he's not playing chess here, ladies and gentlemen.
And it was something
you don't just say, I'm gonna do this, and then the whole world doesn't know you're doing this. It's like, dude, you could have checked in first. He knows he can't join NATO, but he's still trying this.
Something that Zelensky kind of did on his own volition. So we have to understand the facts here. Back in, I think it was March or April, Zelensky did an interview with Fareed Zakaria on CNN and told the world that publicly he was supposed to act like Ukraine was still, vying for NATO membership, but privately the doors would remain closed. That was what the United States told Zelensky at, I think it was the Munich conference that took place like maybe a month or a few weeks before the war in Ukraine broke out.
So again, Zelensky was told privately, you are not joining NATO. You're not joining NATO. The door is closed to you joining NATO. But in public, he's acting like, yeah, we're still vying for it. The process is continuing. We're getting our permission slips ready. Like, the paperwork's just taking a bit. They're filing it at the NATO organization. Yeah, that was the Munich conference. They were told this all along, and we played the video where he said, "Yeah, publicly we're not there." And I wish I had it, but I don't. So yeah. So remember, privately, he knows this ain't happening. Publicly, he's putting up a show.
So that's the fact.
And by the way,
here.
the United States told him that.
I mean, the fact of the matter is they're not going anywhere. They're not joining NATO. So this whole situation of him printing out the piece of paper, the expedited NATO application paper, signing it off with his two henchmen standing side by side, and saying like, we are going to join it. It was all show. It's all virtue signaling for the Ukrainian people. It's all virtue signaling. It's a show. It's a clown world. You guys know that. But what isn't a show and what isn't actually all that calming of a development is this right here. And it is virtue signaling what they're doing, but it's scary, okay? Take a look. 9 countries announced support for Ukraine's NATO bid. In other words, 9 countries have announced their support for all-out nuclear holocaust. The alliance's chief, meanwhile, noted that the consent of all 30 members is needed, all right? And that's something that they're obviously not going to get. The United States and Jens Stoltenberg has already come out and they said now is not the time for Ukraine to join NATO. But let's read because it's pretty interesting.
So the U.S. and Stoltenberg, that is his name. Okay, I thought it sounded like a country. Stoltenberg and the U.S. are saying, no, it's not the time right now. Now is not the time. Zelensky knows privately it's not the time. And yet he's still continuing to do this. Isn't it interesting? This is still continuing. And by the way, those 9 countries, F those 9 countries that support the support. That's nuclear power. That's nuclear war that they are supporting. Those 9 countries. Oh my God.
The presidents of 9 NATO countries came together on Sunday to express their support for Ukraine's membership bid and also to urge all allies to substantially increase their military support to Kiev. The statement came 2 days.
Like they don't already have enough military support? How much more do they need? They're losing the war anyway. Oh, they had one comeback in Kharkiv. Oh, yay.
Days after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced his country's intention to apply for fast-track NATO membership. Quote, we firmly stand behind the 2008 Bucharest NATO summit decision concerning Ukraine's future membership. The presidents of the Czech Republic, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia all said.
So all of those countries that you just heard all support nuclear war.
That is a concerning group of countries.
It is.
For many reasons. At the Bucharest summit, the alliance members welcomed the aspirations for membership in NATO of Ukraine and Georgia, but didn't provide any time frame for these countries' accession. At the Bucharest summit, the alliance, we already read that, quote, we support Ukraine in its defense against Russia's invasion, demand Russia to immediately withdraw from all the occupied territories, and encourage all allies to substantially increase their military aid to Ukraine, the statement said. All right, so there you have it. You have 9 members that are coming out and saying like, yeah, we support nuclear holocaust. Let's just send it. Now, compare that to this guy right here, absolutely horrible shithole of a human being. But I agree with him here.
Sometimes we agree with horrible shithole of human beings that caused irreparable harm and damage and havoc all over the world. But I mean, it's these guys that we have to agree with, unfortunately, because the others are up their asses.
Henry Kissinger. So you have 9 member states that are coming out and saying like, yeah, nuclear holocaust is great. Let's do it. Let's bring Ukraine into NATO. At the same time that even Henry Kissinger is coming out and saying, yeah, it's not wise to let Ukraine join NATO. Here's why. Washington's attempts to incorporate Ukraine into NATO after the collapse of the Soviet Union were not prudent, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger said on Friday. Speaking to the Council on Foreign Relations, a nonpartisan U.S. think tank, the 99-year-old veteran diplomat argued that Washington tried to indiscriminately include all former members of the Soviet bloc under its umbrella after the Berlin Wall fell, and that the whole region between the center of Europe and the Russian border became open to restructure. From the Russian point of view, the United States then attempted to integrate this whole region without exception into an American-led strategic system, he said, adding that this development basically removed Russia's historic safety belt. Keep in mind, of course, that the United States in, 1990, 1991 promised, Secretary Baker promised the Russian people that they would not extend NATO 1 inch east past of Germany. Now that promise has been violated 14 times already. If they admit Finland and Sweden, that'd be 15 and 16 times that they have violated the promise. And if they admit Georgia and Ukraine, I mean, that would be 17, 18 times that they violated the promise, extending NATO east of Germany. Now, we should add that at the time that this agreement was made, it was not made with pen and paper, it was a verbal agreement. So that's the fault of Russian leadership. But it's worth noting that they made that promise, and they were very clear about it on many occasions. And we have national security archives to back that up. I've shown them here many times, not just on one occasion, but I mean this dialogue was promised time and time again for decades.
So you never sign a deal with the devil. You never sign a deal with the United States. You never give them an inch, because they're always going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Okay, so anyways, let's go back to this. Kissinger thus stressed that, quote, it was not a wise American policy to attempt to include Ukraine into NATO. He does not believe, however, that this justifies attempts by Russian President Vladimir Putin to reincorporate Ukraine into Moscow's sphere of influence by surprise attack. Kissinger said he does not know if it is possible to make peace with the Russian leader, but stressed that the West must seek an opportunity for an arrangement that guarantees Ukrainian freedom and keeps the country part of the European system. So Kissinger's actually been quite reasonable throughout this entire war in Ukraine. I think he understands the folly of, his previous, manner towards geopolitics to maybe a certain degree in his late age, 99 years old. And it's odd that he's now he's one of the only senior statesmen in the West, in all of the West, not just the United States, who has enough of a level head. Henry Kissinger, I can't believe I'm saying this, has enough of a level head to say things such as this. It would be unwise and foolish to bring Ukraine into NATO.
Yeah, so I can't believe I'm gonna I'm about to say this, but Henry Kissinger is correct, ladies and gentlemen. However, the fact that I don't know if we can make peace with Putin, the reason is because the United States keeps effing it up and bungling that. They're idiots in the United States government, including Kissinger. However, it is not wise, because you're going to start World War III. That is the exact reason that Henry Kissinger just said that. You can't get NATO in Ukraine into NATO. You're going to start World War III, especially if you include Finland, Sweden, Georgia, and all those guys. You're just going to create such havoc around the world. It's not a wise policy. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that Kissinger is the one saying that. So that is all the show that we have for you tonight. Hopefully we can clip this, and you guys can have more videos to watch individually of this. Am I gonna sit through that and edit this? Maybe. So I just want to thank each and every single one of you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing what I've got to say. Thank you for hearing Jackson and Jimmy. Make sure you subscribe to them. And let me also thank Oscar for helping me out. Thank you to Lexx. Thank you to Jesus for the audio edits. Thank you to Tucker Benson, my good friend Tucker Benson. Oh, Tucker Benson, that's all right. Anyway, delicious. Yeah, very. Anyway, okay. Tucker Benson, thank you for the article edits and writing for the Substack kind of newsletter platform. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. We hope to do another show soon, actually. Now make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Press that post notification bell. Support. I always say support us on PayPal on the other channel, because they won't censor me there, hopefully. And make sure you support us on Substack, getthememo.substack.com, substack.getthememo.com. I'm pretty sure you could do that too. Get the memo at substack.com, getthememo1@gmail.com if you want to email the show directly, or if you want to email the Substack platform directly, it's getthememo at substack.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FluffyJA97. And yeah, I think that's it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I will respond. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And we will see you guys next time.